Screwed that up. Damn it. Oh, one of these days I'll get it right. So anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the Friday night live stream. I'm your host, Double G, also known as Glenn Gould. Won't be playing any music tonight. I am still healing the elbow and the wrist. I can report, however, that today, finally, after 2 weeks, felt better today than it has really since I went to the doctor to get it diagnosed. It really bothered me every day until then, but finally today I'm starting to see some improvement and see some relief, and hopefully this thing will start to heal so I can get back to playing my guitars. Man, do I miss that. However, I have been keeping busy with astrophotography. As anyone who's watched any of my recent videos would know, I did pick up a new telescope recently, the C-Star S50. So now I'm operating a fleet of 2. And I am operating them right now as we speak. Let's just, oh hey. Hello, Lisa. Wasn't sure if I had any viewers yet. Looks like you're the only one. So, yeah, I didn't get that message off either. So anyway, I'm currently operating both of my telescopes throughout the backyard right now, pointed up at the sky, my little sliver of sky that I have available in my limited backyard. One telescope is currently taking pictures of the object NGC 1491, a nebula that's kind of overhead. And my other telescope was taking pictures of Andromeda, but I've stopped it from doing that, and I'm getting ready to send it to another target. So I'm using my iPhone to control the other telescope. So, sorry I don't know how to share the screen with you, but I'm getting ready to point this one at the Pleiades, also known as M45, also known as the Seven Sisters. And the telescope is calibrating, and will be pointed at the Seven Sisters and starting to take pictures of it pretty soon. So, been blessed with dark, moonless skies for the past, about 4 nights in a row. I was able to deploy both telescopes on the 3rd through the 6th. Clouds on the 7th. But 3rd through the 6th, there was moon in the sky, some of the sky. You know what? I'm having a problem with one of my telescopes. I have to go out and make a quick adjustment. I'll be right back. Talk among yourselves. Alright, so every once in a while, the Dwarf Lab 2 smart telescope gets dumb and forgets where the sky is, so I had to go out and show it where the sky is. I'm going to try to repoint it at M45 again. Let's see. Give me M45, buddy. Go to. And it's, getting ready to try to go find it. That'll take a few minutes. In the meantime, I do have the C-Star S50 currently tracking NGC 1491. It has been looking at it now for 34 minutes and 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It just updated. So what's the difference between the two telescopes is that the Dwarf Lab is the very first smart telescope I bought a few years ago. The C-Star S50 is very similar to the Dwarf Lab, about the same price really as I paid for the Dwarf Lab a few years ago. It's just a little bit more powerful than the Dwarf Lab is, so that allows me to deploy both of them, because one telescope is capable of taking wider angle pictures of things, and the other one is capable of zooming in a little bit more. So it gives me a couple of different views of the same objects in some cases, and in other cases it allows me to see some objects closer that I would not otherwise be able to see. Of course, now having used these two for a couple of weeks now I need another more powerful one. But anyone that collects telescopes would probably make the same statement. I think it's just me and you, Lisa, so got any questions? I did prepare a small video that shows me setting up the telescopes very quickly. It only takes a few minutes. Also have a slideshow that I could show of the objects that I've captured over the last, was it 4 days? The 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Yes, 8, 10, 11, and 12, and tonight, Friday 13, another moonless dark night. This time of year, for those who are into astrophotography, is a very good time of year. The month of February, at least, especially from my location anyway, the month of February is perfect for capturing objects that you only get to see in the wintertime, like Orion, the Christmas tree cluster, several other objects similar to that. It's also known, I think, as galaxy season in the astrophotography circles. I have noticed, looking at Stellarium, that there are a large collection of galaxies that seem to be available at night to try, and I've tried to pick up a few of them, but I think there's only a handful that we can see very well with the two telescopes I have. The vast majority of them require something a little more powerful. I may remedy that someday. But there are still many out there that I was not aware of that I've been able to get some pictures of, and I'll show some of those to you here in a few minutes. At this time, my Dwarf Lab telescope has tracked down M45, so I'm going to tell it to start taking pictures of it. And it's going to do that. So the Dwarf Lab takes 15-second exposures. The C-Star S50 takes 10-second exposures. The difference in exposure time is that one telescope being a little more powerful than the other one, the S50. I have to use smaller exposure times to be able to stay locked on the target before Earth's rotation will start to make the stars move. So 10 seconds is probably about the most you would want to go with a C-Star when you're using the alt-azimuth alignment. Same as with the Dwarf, it's just the Dwarf being a little less powerful. I can move up to 15 seconds on the exposures. Both telescopes have the ability to align in what they call equatorial mode. So equatorial mode is where once you have this telescope set labeled, the way they currently work right now to make them easy to use is they use what's called alt-azimuth alignment, which means you just set them level, so if they're level, the telescope will figure out where the horizon is and align itself by the horizon, and then it'll look at the night sky and take pictures of the stars and compare that to its database, and by that be able to figure out where it's at on Earth and then where things are at in the sky. And that's great for locking onto objects and tracking them across the sky. The only downside to that particular method of alignment is that Earth and the universe's rotation, both of those combined, will still, after a certain number of seconds of an open shutter, cause something to start to rotate. So the solution to that is to align your telescope to the equator, which basically means that once you have your telescope set level, you then point it toward the North Star, pretty much, and then just a little off from the North Star is where you actually end up pointing it to, but you pretty much point it to like the celestial north is what you do. And it's a little bit of a process. It's a little bit of a procedure, both on the dwarf and on the sea star. I've not attempted to do that yet. Mostly I'm waiting for warmer temperatures, so if I'm going to mess around with equatorial alignment, I can not be getting cold while I try to do that. So right now I'm settling for the automated alignment system, which is really well suited to my amateur attempts at taking pictures. But at some point in the near future, I will try to set these telescopes up in equatorial alignment, and once you do that, you can then start to move to 30-second exposures, and in the case of the sea star, I think you can even go to 60-second exposures. Longer exposures, of course, more light gathering, more detail, you know, the holy grail of astrophotography. Anyway, I think what I'll do now is I will show the video of me setting up the telescopes a couple hours ago, just to give you a feel for what they look like when in the backyard and point it up at the sky. And then we'll come back and look at some pictures I've gotten over the last 3 or 4 nights. So let me do that by going to here. And desktop.
So much nicer out today. It's almost like just a little bit above 50 right now, but this time of year, a little bit above 50 feels like springtime. Alright, so that's ready to go. I'll roll it up to look at the sky when it gets dark. In the meantime, I'll just leave it in the closed position. Let's get the next one. Alright, now we got the power supply for both of them. See, I like to put this one this way. There we go. Okay. Hook up here. Plug him in there. Right. And we'll hook the dwarf lab. And plug him in there. And alright. And there we go. So there's the observation set up and ready to go. 2 telescopes and their power supply. What we gotta do now is wait for dark and hope the skies stay clear.
Anyway, so I think the video might have stuttered quite a bit. I guess I probably better figure out a better way to try to show a video. But hopefully it was clear enough that you could get an idea of the little setup. I use a little table and put the 2 telescopes on a table. Use a battery pack to keep them both powered, because I will use both of them long enough that if I don't power them with an external battery pack, they would run their batteries dead. Dwarf Lab on its internal battery will run about 2.5 hours before it dies. The Sea Star has been running close to 4 hours before it dies, but I will be using it more than 4 hours tonight. So having the portable battery pack allows you to let the telescopes run all night long without having to worry about the batteries dying. One caveat to that is, I think in the case of both telescopes, when the temperature drops below 32 degrees, the telescopes won't take a charge anymore. So kind of limits the cold weather use of them somewhat, in that you can use them in the cold, but there's no way to recharge the batteries when it gets below 32 degrees. So they'll just last as long as the batteries last. Which, when it's cold, they tend to last less long than they would normally. But still, you can still use them in the cold. You're just not going to get as much time out of them as you might otherwise be able to. Okay. So another thing here that we can do is take a look at stellarium. Like I say, right now, currently, I'm with the Sea Star tracking NGC 1491. Been doing it for 42 minutes. So I'm getting quite a few frames collected for that one. And so where is that? In the sky. So here we see stellarium. You can see at the ground level where it has the compass directions. Helps to have a compass when you go outside at night to look at the night sky, or at least know generally which direction things are in compass-wise. But anyway, armed with the ground line and the compass directions, I've activated a grid here to grid out the night sky for me, so I know where the high things are in the sky and where the low things are. And I can just simply go over here to the search window and say, hey, tell me where NGC 1491 is, and search for it, and it'll show me roughly where it is in the sky on the sky map. I can then kind of scroll down and check the compass direction and check the height. And once I check those two things, I can determine that, yeah, from my backyard, I will be able to image that object at this point in time. This does in real time track these objects across the sky. In fact, believe it or not, in real time, this software tracks Elon Musk's satellites. If I zoom in a little, you may be able to see some. On the other hand, I'm not sure if they would be bright enough to be able to see on the screen. But this software does track all of Elon Musk's satellites, so you can literally tell exactly when one of his satellites is going to come in and ruin one of your images, which that happens a lot. And his satellites are constantly running through frames. But anyway, there's an example of how I might go about finding some objects in the night sky. Here you can see that Andromeda has dropped to a point where it's, for me, for where I'm at, it's too low for me to take pictures of, which is why I stopped taking pictures of it and moved the dwarf to another target, I should say. The target I moved the dwarf to is the Seven Sisters, which are located right here. Southwest, west, so about halfway between the southwest and the west, which from my backyard is perfect. Anything in that direction. So that's a little demonstration of what I would do to help choose some targets. The two telescopes also include target lists. When you fire them up, you can go to their onboard atlases on both telescopes, and both of them will give you a list of suggested targets for the night. Very extensive lists, but I've also found a lot more by just exploring the night sky with stellarium and finding some things that way too. Anyway, so I guess the only thing really that's left for me to do is to show some pictures of some objects I've gotten over the last few nights. So let me do that now. So I'm on the desktop already. So from the desktop, I should be able to activate a slideshow for you. Like right there. I'll make that full screen. I'm not going to remember what the names of all these objects are. I didn't have time to put together tagged slides for what I'm going to show you right now. I might remember the names of some of them, but not hardly any of them. Believe me, I've been very busy since I've been able to use these telescopes almost every night. I've been very busy processing all the data during the day. I just finished the last piece of data I had that I hadn't touched yet about an hour before I started this live stream, which will actually be the last picture in this particular slideshow. But anyway, let's see. So this is part of the Heart Nebula. Now, the Heart Nebula, I think, is available year-round. It's very high in the sky. So it rotates around the galactic North Pole, which makes it available year-round from the Northern Hemisphere. But this is the bottom of the Heart right here. And this object here below the Heart Nebula has a name. I forget what it is, but that's what we're looking at here. Here's an open star cluster. Don't recall the name of that one. Oh, actually, no. I do know what this is. I almost missed it. But you see very faintly these look like dark clouds. So this is part of the Witch Head Nebula. I wasn't sure if I would be able to capture it with the telescopes that I have, because it's a very dark nebula. But yes, I was able to. Well, it's very faint and kind of noisy, but I was able to get part of the Witch Head Nebula with the Sea Star. Was the one that got this picture. Here's a one that was taken with the Dwarf Lab, because it's a very large nebula. If I try to shoot this with the Sea Star, it'll only get a part of it. But this is also a very faint one. This is, I think it's IC 1848, also known as the Soul Nebula. There's the Heart Nebula and then the Soul, Heart and Soul, get it? But the Soul Nebula is kind of near the Heart Nebula. And I've tried 5 times to grab this. And I don't know if my skies are just too light polluted or I'm just not using the right settings. But anyway, this is my latest attempt at trying to get it. And I will try it again. I think I just need to get more time on it than I'm currently getting. So the more frames, the better. I will make more attempts at getting more of that, getting this better in the future. But that's what this is. This is the Soul Nebula. It's my best attempt at getting it from my backyard. You can see if you look at the corner of an image like this one, you can see noise, where noise is creeping in. And that's noise that's caused by, as I explained earlier, since I'm not using the equatorial mount, if I'm going to have the telescope stare at an object for an hour, the Earth and the universe both continue to rotate, and the telescope isn't. It's locked onto an object, so it starts to twist its frame. Even though it keeps your object centered, it does twist its frame around it, and that's what causes the noise that you see in the corners. If I go to an equatorial mount system, I'll probably be able to eliminate most, if not all, that noise that's in the corners. And I'll probably be able to get a better shot at this nebula, too. Oh, thank you, notification. Okay, so that's the Soul Nebula. This is another open star cluster. Don't recall the name, but there's one very bright star, very large star, right here. That could be Betelgeuse, possibly, but it could be some other large star. This is Betelgeuse, so I remember this one. So don't normally take pictures of stars with small telescopes like this, but Betelgeuse is a huge star. Not sure if it's the largest one in the night sky, but certainly one of the largest ones. So this is what Betelgeuse looks like. Scientists say it should blow just about any time into a supernova that we'll be able to see in our night sky. Anytime between now and a few hundred years from now. But anyway, that's Betelgeuse. There's another open star cluster. While I'm showing these slides, I should probably take me off the screen. Let's see. Now here's an open star cluster. It's a little more compact. Don't remember the name of that one. I don't remember the name of this nebula either. A lot of noise in this one. I need to try to get more time on that one. Some of these pictures are my attempts at, my first attempt at a target to see, is this a target that I would like to go back and get a better picture of in the future? So I might not have taken a lot of frames of it initially. And I think that's the case here. Took a few frames to see if it would be a good target to go back for in the future while I went on to something else. Here's an overview of the Horsehead Nebula and the Oh, Christ. Again, I forget the name of that damn nebula here. But anyway, this is a view of this that you get from the Dwarf Lab camera, and it shows one of the differences between the Dwarf Lab and the C-Star. So the Dwarf Lab captures all this in one view. The C-Star would only get this Horsehead Nebula area in its view, which I do have an example of that is in an earlier video I did. Don't recall the name of this one. Some nice pretty stars in this picture though. I believe that's the Trillium Galaxy, I think. Also known as maybe M33, if memory serves. It's one of the larger galaxies I can get with my telescopes. Andromeda being the largest, of course. Here's the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades, also known as M45. They have some nebulosity associated with them also. Here again, you can see some of the noise I'm getting because I'm trying to stare at these objects for an hour or more, and all that noise creeps in on the corners. Of course, I could obviously, crop this out and get rid of that noise. However, I do want to show the full frame that I'm getting out of the telescope. Don't recall the name of this one. Has some pretty colors in it. That's one, again, I definitely need to go back and do more observations on this that are longer. So that looks like a cool one. There's the Rosette Nebula. This is one that I'm getting better at bringing it in. I've had some trouble bringing this one in last couple of years, but this year I'm getting better at operating these telescopes, and I'm starting to bring this nebula in better. This is one of my better attempts at it. This is done with the Dwarf Lab. Again, this is what the Dwarf Lab sees when you point it at the Rosette Nebula. If you point the S50 at the Rosette Nebula, it would see a small portion of this. I don't recall the name of this nebula either. It does kind of look like a Batman Batarang or something, but don't recall the name of this nebula. Don't recall the name of that one either. Weird looking. This is Jupiter. A picture of Jupiter. Now, Jupiter's not a object you'd normally take with these telescopes. These telescopes aren't designed to take pictures of planets. However, they will take pictures of them, or try to. And this is what the C-Star S50 sees when you take astrophotographs of Jupiter and then stack them, just as if it was a star. I probably need to mess around with the exposure settings to maybe bring that in a little bit better, and I'll play around with that more in the future. But I did want to show an example of what a astrophotograph of Jupiter would look like if you go ahead and take them and then stack them in the stacking software. These are 1, 2, 3 of Jupiter's moons almost coming out in almost a straight line from the planet. But anyway, that's what that is. Now there's the double cluster. It's very high in the sky. Again, I forget the name. C14 maybe, but not sure. But yes, yeah, this is one of the more colorful double clusters, and this is how the C-Star S50 sees it. This is also a good double cluster to look at from farther away with the Dwarf Lab. This is an object that actually works good in both telescopes. There's another open cluster of some sort. And another open cluster. There's another one, although it's a little more crowded there in the middle. And this is the Monkey Head Nebula. Remember that one, because it's an easy name to remember. But this is the Monkey Head Nebula. This is the one I posted on my community post earlier today, although this isn't the same picture. It's a picture I took the night before the one that I posted today. Don't recall the name of this. And don't recall the name of that open cluster. Or that one. They are pretty though. Don't recall the name of that nebula. In fact, the one thing I do recall about this is I don't think it had a name. I had to locate it by locating a star in order to get the telescope to find it. Or if it does have a name, I couldn't find it in any of the source material that I've got. Very faint nebula here. This could be the spider and the fly. I remember trying to get that. So one of these is this one I think is the spider, and I think this one is the fly. And I can't recall if that was with the dwarf lab or with the sea star. Another shot of the Rosette Nebula. I'm starting to get more and more of it to come in. It's getting brighter and brighter. I'm getting better and better at it. This is the Crab Nebula. Crab Nebula, also located in a sea of very colorful stars. But that one's kind of cool. Zoom in on that a little bit. That's also known as M1. And here is the best picture yet that I've gotten of the Great Orion Nebula. This one I got last night. So we're looking at last night pictures here, these last few pictures. And yeah, this is the best one yet. For a couple of different reasons. I did get... I've learned how to cull my data, which is something new I've learned. So I've learned how to go through the data and find bad frames and take them out before you even process them. So I've learned to cull the data, which makes the data cleaner. And I also learned a few other tricks in the astro processing software that's going literally to improve all of my images. But combining all that onto this picture here yields the best picture I've gotten yet of Andromeda. Let's zoom in on that. You can see so much detail in here, or so much more than what I've ever gotten before. Anyway, I was kind of proud of that, and I hope to get an even better shot at that. Right now, like I said, this time of the year, February, this is the best time of the year to try to get pictures of Orion. Sorry if I called that Andromeda a few minutes ago. This is Orion, but this is the best time of the year to get it. So I've shot it several times, but I'm going to just keep shooting it anyway, especially this time of the year, just to see if I can get better and better pictures of it. But that's definitely my best one so far. Like that one. And there's the one I posted today on my community tab. So here's the Monkey Head Nebula that I got last night, and I got a good almost an hour's worth of data accumulated on that one, and that really brought out a lot of detail here on the old Monkey Head. That's a really cool nebula to get in the night sky. Don't recall the name of that one. And there's one of the smaller galaxies, or it's not a small galaxy obviously, but small for my telescopes. One of the smaller ones available that I found in the night sky. And here's another one. In fact, here's, you can see a small galaxy here, and then over here, here's another one. It's over here. It's amazing to me just to think of how far away these things are. So the stars that we're looking at in these pictures, or every star we see is in the Milky Way. These galaxies are located millions of light years away. Millions. It's incredible. Anyway, there's another small galaxy far, far away. And this is the last picture that I got last night, and this is known as the Christmas tree cluster. Good time of year to get it also. It's got some nebulosity to it that does have a little bit of color to it. Not sure why it's called the Christmas tree cluster, other than maybe because of the time of year it's available to be seen, and I don't know. I'm not really getting the shape of a Christmas tree here, but yeah, who knows. But anyway, that's what it's called, and it's the last picture of the group of objects I've gotten over the last 4 nights, and I'm going to get a bunch more tonight. So anyway, electric guitar cluster is a great name. Yes. Yeah, the red is obviously, if you've noticed in these pictures, red is definitely a predominant color. And as I understand it, I think it's, oh man, I really should look this up. red is either hydrogen or oxygen. I'm not sure which. I want to say hydrogen. It's one of those two gases. Is what causes the red color to be seen from a distance, and that's why I'm pretty sure it's probably hydrogen. It is the second most plentiful element in the universe. Number one most plentiful element in the universe, of course, is stupidity, as Mr. Frank Zappa has told us. But anyway, yeah, that Jupiter image was neat, even though it was so bright it kind of blew out everything. But that's honestly to be expected. To the telescopes, Jupiter is basically a bright star. At least the telescopes I have. Like I say, the ones I got really aren't designed to get pictures of the planets, at least not good ones. Believe it or not, to get really good pictures of the planets, you need a really powerful telescope. You don't need a powerful telescope to get nebula that are millions of light years away, but you do to get planets. That's odd, but that's the way it works. So, anyway, that's what's going on here at Double G Studios tonight. Maybe by next Friday, I might be back up playing a little bit of guitar by then. We'll see if I can't get my stupid arm to heal. I've just now noticed that nobody is seeing me. Well, hopefully you can hear me. Oh, God, it's what happens when you have an amateur run a live stream. So, anyway, happy Friday, everybody, and hope you enjoyed the pictures. I sure enjoy getting them and working on them. But anyway, look forward to maybe showing some more at some future date, and really look forward to getting back to playing some guitar. So anyway, have a great weekend, everyone, and ta-la.